Welcome to another edition of Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television, where we come to amplify the voices and stories of women on this platform. And as we all know, we are about celebrating the 40th edition of the International Women's Day, and as the theme goes, for all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment, which is very, very important. The delegation of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family keeps bringing up this particular theme because they want to know, they want women to see to know their significance in the society and to come out despite the barriers they face. And as we all know, women strive on a daily to come out to be significant in the society, but definitely they face numerous challenges. And of course, change is only possible if we come up with a group or a panelist of stakeholders that can help to promote the rights, equality, and empowerment for women and girls. And that is why we are here today to discuss on this very, very pertinent issue that affects the women and the girls in the society. Of course, we are talking of us, the women, and us, the girls out there that go through torments, that go through a lot of challenges because of the fact that they want to fight for the right thing or the thing which needs to be done to them at the right time. Of course, you are here today, and I'm not here alone. I'm here with very, very elegant women, very strong and powerful women who have come on the panel today to discuss some of these challenges women face on a daily, some of these challenges women face, and maybe provide possible solutions or possible ideas women can use to overcome these challenges. Today we have very beautiful, very strong, as I said, and very elegant women on set with me to talk on the role stakeholders play in promoting rights, equality, and empowerment for women and girls. So we are here today to just talk about these issues and let you know or empower someone out there or inspire someone out there that is going through some trouble being integrated in the society. Of course, no one is left out. Cameroon is an all-inclusive society. So we have a very powerful panel here, and I'm going to introduce our panelists to you so that you know who is talking and who is saying what the person is saying. I'm going to begin right away with our very own Professor Justine Ayok. She's a professor at the Department of Women and Gender Studies, University of Buea, and of course, she's a gender expert. Greetings, Prof, and thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you, panelists. I'm glad to be here this evening.
Okay, and we also have a very powerful woman. When we talk of the business world, when we look at the business world, when we look at what entrepreneurs are doing and how they're empowering other women out there, we want to look at Mrs. Norbert Mom. She's an entrepreneur, the owner of Everything Nails and Beauty. Yeah, she's the owner of that, and she's very good at what she does. And of course, she's the public relations officer of Entrepreneurial Ladies. These are very strong women who have decided to stand out in the society to do what is right, to stand on their own as independent women, and also help other women by shouting out to them or by giving them some empowering words and how to go about the business world. So we say greetings to you, Mrs. Norbert, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, we also have, of course, there must be a legal mind in the house, someone that is going to help us to tell us of some of these policies, some of these rights of women out there, some of the ways women are being marginalized, and how they think or how we should treat some of these issues. So we have with us today, we have Barrister Akwi Awamofo, barrister and solicitor of and a woman and child rights advocate. Greetings, Barrister, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. The privilege is mine to be here to talk about women empowerment and equality. Thank you.
You're very much welcome, and we hope to have a very insightful discussion with you. And of course, we also have, we're not leaving out, the Executive Director of Hope of Africa, that is HOFA Foundation or Association. We have Madame Sarah Deval FOC Livanda. She also she's out there to advocate, or she's an activist for women out there to stand up, for women to stand out on their rights, and of course, to help them to be able to do the things which are right, for them not to be left in the back. We are gone past the century where women are supposed to be in the kitchens, in their houses. Women are standing out in the society. Women are taking up top positions, and people like this on the panel today are out to help us and empower these women out there. So we say greetings to you, Mrs. Livanda, and thanks for joining us on set today.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here and amongst tough minds as women, and since it's our month, we are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. And as she rightly said, it is the month of a woman, and every woman is supposed to be celebrated during this month. The Regional Delegation of Women's Empowerment and the Family Center has been organizing week-long activities from the 2nd of March till the 8th of March that is going to commemorate the 40th edition of celebrations for the International Women's Day. I'm sure all the women that have been attending these or have been taking part in these activities are very much empowered throughout, especially from the conference of yesterday. There was a lot of things taught at the conference yesterday, and of course our own very own Professor Justine was one of the presenters yesterday, and she was very, very keen on the rights, on these rights, and we're talking of empowerment and talking of equality. She was very, very keen on it being a catalyst for development and an all-inclusive Cameroon. So before we want to dive in straight into our discussion today, maybe we want to first of all have some very, very let's say very simple questions, or questions that will help our viewers out there following us today to understand what exactly we are talking about. So when we talk of stakeholders, who are the key stakeholders to play a crucial role in promoting the rights, equality and empowerment for women and girls? Professor Justine, maybe you want to help us with that.
Thank you for that question. It's quite a tricky one, but I would say that when we talk about stakeholders, it's everybody. It's the state, it's the household, it's the community, it's individual men, women, boys, and girls. Yeah, because we cannot talk about an egalitarian society when everybody cannot feel belong. They don't feel like they are contributing effectively and also benefiting from the resources and what development has to offer. So I think it's not something that we have to say, oh, the government should do this, civil society should do this. It is a collective effort. Individuals themselves, women, girls, the state, local councils, civil society organizations, common initiative groups, individual men and women, households, everybody needs to get on board to achieve this equality that we are talking about. And of course we cannot achieve this equality when we still have gross violation of the rights of women and girls. We have a lot of examples that can be cited, and we cannot talk about this equality when we still have a good proportion of our population that is disempowered. So it's a collective effort towards promoting inclusive development for all, and to enable every Cameroonian citizen, regardless of gender, class, ethnicity, to be able to contribute to the country's development and also benefits. That will be my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. And to you, Barrister, you being an advocate of a woman's and child's rights, how do you help these women? What do you do that gives these women that boost or that push to continue continue looking up to you, being their advocate and all that? What is that thing that you do that pushes these women to do or to be better?
Thank you. Firstly, to push women empowerment and equality, we must keep creating awareness, sensitizing the public and even community leaders. In fact, all stakeholders involved. First of all, we also need to give access to education to women and girls, which is very pertinent. Economic opportunities, they should be able to contribute and have equal access to opportunities just like men in the society. And also we can continue providing workshops, training opportunities on capacity building, and also microfinance opportunities where women can have access to train themselves to belong and to be able to provide and become independent as well. And they can also, we will also keep encouraging civil society organizations, activists, and even advocates to advocate for policy reforms that will favor equality and also women empowerment, and also for the laws to be implemented. Yes, so in order to achieve equality, we also need laws, not just talking about the laws, but the laws must be fully enforced and implemented. Yeah, so that's what I would say about it.
Okay, and over to you, Mrs. Norbert. You being an entrepreneur, and what is it that you do? What is it, or maybe the entrepreneurial ladies, what is it that you people do to actually promote, maybe empower women out there?
Okay, one problem we realize is that women become very vulnerable because they are not financially independent. So we took upon ourselves to develop this group to create awareness so that we will support the young entrepreneurs, the upcoming entrepreneurs, that they should not be vulnerable because of lack of finances. So we organize seminars, we organize trainings to educate them on the importance of entrepreneurship, on the importance of having a skill, on the importance of being educated. Because most women have just grown up with the aspect of their parents telling them that it is marriage that is going to make you become, like it's an achievement. But now we are changing the narratives and say we women are also going to own our own enterprises and impact the society. We must not be hearing about Dangote and the rest. I was very pleased when I watched the graduation ceremony when the owner of Telka made that speech. I was so pleased because those are women entrepreneurs that are encouraging us, the young ones, to be big women in the future.
Okay.
So I think that's my take.
Okay, and to you, Mrs. Livanda, maybe you want to let us know about how you also empower women. What is it that you people do? I think today people were out today for sensitization and all of that. So what is it that you people do that also empowers these women out there?
Yeah, empowerment first should begin with the mindset. Because growing up, women have had a different kind of mindset about the kitchen, giving birth to children. That is the mindset. So what we do is also, first of all, we reconstruct the mindset of the women and the girls. Now we also educate them. We also do carry out capacity building. We also carry out skill acquisition trainings. For example, we have an empowerment center, the name Fakwe Empowerment Platform. So there we train women in ICT, in tailoring, and in catering, because we don't want to limit. Especially, we encourage more women to go into the STEAM, the ICT sector, because that sector has been seen as a male the kind of, so we push the women. And economically, the women have to be vibrant. And we look at, because we have looked at in all the various dimensions, even women who will stay in abusive relationships, it is because of the lack of financial independence. So we look at all those, where we look at how to fight gender-based violence. We look at all that because we have to educate. And we don't only limit our educations on women, but also with men, because we have discovered that a lot of women have been emancipated, a lot of women have been empowered, but now the men have not been empowered to be able to accommodate these empowered women. And it's also a problem. So we work both genders, right? Because if we want to save the woman, we must first work on the IQ of the men. so that the women will be saved. And so the men should not think that if your wife is being empowered, she has a job, she has a business, it's a problem. We should see it that if you have somebody that has all that quality, it's a plus for you, the man. So it's not like you're having a competitor. No, you're having a complementer, someone who complements you. So you have an asset at home. So they don't see it as a threat, but they see it as a valuable asset that they have. So we also, those are the things we do. We carry out. For example, in JHS Bokwango today, we had this activity that was funded by the UNDP, the Southwest Women for Peace and Development Network, and we decided to go to the secondary schools because I just want to go based from what the Bible says, that if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Now, we can be talking to the grown-up men, but their foundation is the problem. So we say, let us go down to that level and then educate them that these are the rights of women and girls. And you as men and boys at this stage, it is your responsibility to protect these women. It's your responsibility to protect these girls, and pushing the girls ahead doesn't make you a weak man. It makes you a strong man, because you need to empower these women to stand out. And when women stand out, the men that are behind are considered strong men. Yes, so we do all that what we do as women and women activists, because we're in several other platforms that we work on that.
Thank you very much, Madam Lifanda. And to you, Prof, you being an expert in the field, maybe there are some of these challenges or these barriers biggest barriers and challenges that women and girls face in assessing their rights and achieving equality. Maybe you want to highlight to us some of those barriers that you've noticed and you're also fighting against them for women and girls.
I think I'll begin with patriarchy. And what is patriarchy? I'll briefly define it as a system that places men in a position of dominance. Not that men are born to be domineering, but because they are socialized into a system where the man is always the head. And my sister over there just spoke about the need to change the mindset. So one of the big challenges we are facing, even as a feminist, I am a feminist and a gender expert, is to deconstruct, change stereotypes about women, about girls vis-a-vis men in society, because we cannot even talk about sustainable inclusive development if we don't start deconstructing our psyche, our mindset, to understand that in order for us to forge ahead collectively, we need to start revisiting some of the norms, some of the sociocultural norms that shape our gender roles as men, women, boys and girls, and even the power relations that we have between men and women at the household level. She spoke about financial independence. I noted it down because that is one of the main challenges we are facing as far as promoting women's rights and economic empowerment is concerned. You understand? And that's why I always argue from a feminist standpoint that when we speak to issues of women and access to finance, we don't only look at it from the perspective of giving women money. We also look at it from the perspective of how women are able to make independent decisions about the use of money. We've had so many platforms. The government is pumping a lot of money through the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family to empower women. But when we give out these microcredits, what happens? Gatsby came. I know many of us are aware of the Cameroon Gatsby Trusts, which was fashioned following the model of the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, to create a platform where women can access these economic opportunities. But because we did not deal with issues of power relations, we did not focus on that angle that gives women power over the use of money and be able to make independent decisions on how to invest money. And we did not also bring in our men on board to understand that when you give a woman money, That woman needs time to grow her business before she can start making contributions to the household. So you find a situation where women find themselves in very precarious situation where they are moving from one micro business venture to another because of so many family burden pulling them back. I'm sure my sister over there can agree with me. So one of the issues we are dealing with has to do with gender roles, deconstructing gender roles, and revisiting power relations. We have to change it. We have to change our mindset. Secondly, the burden for unpaid domestic work. Yesterday in my presentation, I cited an example. Those of you who were there, I said, take a woman and a man. You own a shop at Class Quarters. You're paying 100,000 francs. You pay the same council tax. Everything is equal. Now this man wakes up in the morning by 7:38. He's at his shop. Now you stay at home. You need to cook. You need to take care of children. You need to ensure that children are going to school. By the time you get to your shop, maybe it's 11, 12 o'clock. There is no way you can compete with this other person. So what am I trying to say? We need to start having conversations around unpaid care work. And I presented statistics yesterday, put together by the World Economic Forum, demonstrating the number of hours that women invest in doing unpaid domestic work. This saps into the time available for them to be productive in the economic sphere. So we need to start having this kind of conversation. Countries have been doing that. Kenya is doing that. Uganda is doing that. Cameroon, I think we can do it. We need to start having this conversation. So to me, the major challenge that even determines which woman has access to what resource has to do with the socio-cultural construction of gender and how that fits into who does what, who has what access to what resources, who has power over what decision, and who controls decision making and also resources within our context. So that is a major challenge. But the good news is that we are not where we used to be 15 years, 30 years ago. There is a lot of activism. Changes are ongoing, but it is gradual. But we are getting there, and that's why we are intensifying activism and advocacy in favor of women's rights and empowerment. Likewise, the rights and empowerment of our girls.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that very insightful contribution. And to you, Barrister, looking at you being an advocate for a woman's right and a child's right, maybe you want to outline for us some of those challenges you face and maybe how you overcome these challenges.
To begin with, there are challenges in really implementing the laws, first of all, and also in other communities that still practice gender-based violence and are violating the rights of women. For example, we have in communities like the Muslim communities, the rural communities, that they still practice child marriages. And we also have other communities that still practice female genital mutilation, even though we might think that it has really been eradicated. But sometimes, I think that was yesterday, and a case reached out to me which happened in Limbe, where a child was talking to the tutor, the teacher in class, that why does her mother uses the pistol to press her breast, like in this generation, and this is in Limbe. So these things are really still going on, but most of us do not know. Actually, gender equality, the eradication of gender-based violence has reached a certain level, but it still takes us a lot to attain an adequate measure of it. Yes. So in areas like that, that they still practice a lot of that, I believe that most of the cases they are not aware. Like, awareness has not reached there. Activism has not reached there. Even though what I'm talking about happened in Limbe, but that's around a village in Limbe. Yes, that's around a village in Limbe. And to even talk about other cases like sexual related crimes and all that is still really a major barrier and really a major problem. Like a recent example that was today, that I was trying to handle a case of a 10-year-old girl that was being raped by her neighbor, a married man. And that's a current case that reached me this today. By a married man, this 10-year-old girl. And to think that the family was trying to compromise, they were opting to take money, yes, to kill the case. To kill the case rather than attaining justice for the child. Without even looking at the damage that this must have caused to the child. It has looking at the medical report, a lot has caused that child at this very moment when we looked at the medical report. So these are cases where women want to prioritize finance, money over attaining justice to their children. Yes. So poverty is a very big restraint. Lack of education, lack of access to education. Yes, it's true that in Cameroon, our educational system is is almost free, especially at the primary level. But some women still have that barrier to send their children to school. Yes, just like the recent example I gave, like in Boro community, the Muslim community. Some time ago, I met a chief, and a chief of the Boro community, and we indulged into a discussion relating to children, child marriage, and all that. I was trying to talk him out of it and let him see the importance of education on girl children and all that. But from his mindset, he still believes that girls, especially the Muslim girls, their place is to get married. Like by 14 years, you should be looking at a husband. Yes. And I noticed that it's going to really take a lot to educate that community. And yes, that community
really have stereotype minds.
Yes, the stereotype mind. Yes, that community, most of the women there, they see it like a normal thing. So those are harmful traditions, norms that perpetuate gender-based violence and cruel inequality, imbalance, and against women and all that. So we must give access to education, educate the girl child, and their parents need to prioritize the rights of the girl child over finances.
Okay, so I think our viewers out there are getting that very, very important maybe contribution from a legal mind. And I'm looking at entrepreneurial ladies in the country. A lot of men still do not want their women to engage into business, to engage into things that will take them out of the house, because they still have this mindset that no, my wife cannot earn more than what I earn. My wife cannot be more than, my wife cannot have money, as they put it. I'm supposed to be at the top in the house so that my wife can always or should always listen to me. So Mrs. Norbert, how do you mitigate this challenge maybe you face with some women of the Entrepreneurial Ladies Association, or maybe other young entrepreneurs out there? They lack capital, whereas their husbands or relatives or whoever or their brothers can assist them to maybe sail through this business, but they still have that stereotype mindset that no, my sister or my wife cannot be more than me, she must always be under me. Maybe you have some of these barriers, and how do you attain, or how do you solve them?
Okay, truth be told, even the men who have accepted that our women should do businesses, there's a part in them deep that don't still want it. And a lot of women, I for example, I really faced that difficulties because there was one time I told my husband I was going to, in fact, I want to go to Nigeria to do business, and he said women that are going to Nigeria, in quotes, are prostitutes. And it was not been long, he was trying to command something from another woman who went to Nigeria. And I was asking him, are you encouraging prostitution? Why will you be telling her to bring you something that she went to that same Nigeria that you are refusing? Yes. So I just think women, like when they create awareness, women should learn to put what have been heard into practice. I'm not encouraging women to be heady, but learn to stand on your rights. There are certain moments that there is a certain lifestyle that we all in our mind want to live. And if my husband is not providing that for me, and there's a way I can provide for myself, you are not supposed to limit me because you are not giving me the luxury I want. So let me fight for my rights. And like my sister here said, yes, women really still face a lot of difficulties because they are with men because they are trying to benefit something which they don't have. But it is high time you will not tolerate a toxic relationship because they are trying to provide for you and the rest.
Yes.
If you want to do business, or want to be an entrepreneur, and any marriage is stopping you from that, kindly walk out. I've seen women who left marriages with children and the society condemned them. No man will meet you and the rest. The man is not important. It is the business that is going to provide the kind of lifestyle they want. Because if they start insisting, from what I've seen, people say, no commodity married because they already get picking them. Somebody who is not mentally okay cannot rightfully raise children that will be mentally okay. The anger the parents have, the mother, for example, because always the mothers who suffer will always go back to the children, and it's going to affect those children mentally. So if your husband is stopping you from being an entrepreneur, you have tried all possible measures and it cannot go work out. If that would be the solution for you to be an independent and influential woman. Yes.
Of course, when Mrs. Norbert is saying walk out, she's not saying to walk out of your marriage. Of course, Bert, you should be able to talk with your husband. You should have a very sincere conversation. Of course, if you're into business, it is the advantage of your home. You're not taking that money to somewhere else. Once you're married with somebody, that whatever you're doing is for the advantage of your home, or maybe the style of business you're doing does not really favor you as a person and your personality, being married and having to raise children. Maybe you could have a sincere conversation and look at a way to tell her maybe to switch the business, or to do it in a very good and proper way that is going to be pleasing to the eyes of your husband, obviously. And maybe, Prof, you want to tell us some of these ways to promote, what are some of these policies or reforms that can actually promote women's rights and equality, and how can us here on panel, how can we assist, or how can we do some of the changes, how can we advocate for these changes?
Thank you very much. I can see you are trying to mellow down. I know we are in a Christian country, radio, television house, and we know the position of the church as far as marriage and family is concerned. But I think that as women, we should have a voice.
Of course.
And we should have that agency to make independent choices about our lives. And that's what we are speaking here. Thank you, Madam Norbert. I think that on a positive note, I want to first of all start by talking about the gains we have attained so far.
Okay.
If Madam Norbert is able to speak today, it's because, she has gone through what we call gender grilling. And I tell my students in class, if you are able to sit and study chemistry and study physics, you should thank a feminist, because a feminist stood up one day and said, women are rational beings. They should be able to make independent decisions about their life choices. And that has to do with academic choices, entrepreneurial choices, marriage choices, and what have you. And if we are celebrating gains today, it is because of that advocacy. So we cannot shy away from facts. And I like when I sit in a panel where people spit facts.
Of course.
Now, on the positive note, one good thing about this country is that Cameroon is a gender-friendly country.
Okay.
Because in as much as we have problems with implementation of the laws, like my sister here said, but we have so many instruments that the Cameroon government has put in place that addresses every aspect of women's rights, girls' rights, and empowerment, be it political, economic, social, cultural empowerment. Today we are talking about a national strategy for the response and prevention of gender-based violence. That is something we never had in this country. We have a national gender policy. Now we see decline in the rates of adolescent pregnancies because many girls are going to school. We also see an increase in female presence in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field, and there are lots and lots of scholarship in that direction. So, however, we are still witnessing spikes in GBV.
Okay.
Despite the existence of a national GBV strategy, we still have high prevalence of physical violence on both ways, even though it is hinging more towards women. We also have a few cases of violence against men that we may ignore, but I don't ignore that. So I think that, one of the things that advocacy has done to this country, activism, is raising awareness of policymakers on the importance of some of the things we are talking about, and the necessity and centrality of integrating gender perspective in what we do at the household level, community level, local government level, the level of parliament, and even at the state level. So we have realized a lot of gains. There are so many legal frameworks. We have a policy that clearly outlines. So all we need now is how to implement this policy. But I think that, since this is Women's Month, I think that we as women, we need to also play our own role, because like I said, this is not something that we have to say it's the government, it's civil society. As women, you need to also take advantage. You need to also learn to be assertive. You don't want to be an asset. You don't want to just stay in a situation where you are only receiving. You should be able to also bring in something. There's always a saying that what women bring to the table. It's not just you have to bring, it's not financial, but you have to be an asset. You have to be an asset. The fact that you are even raising children, that is what we talk on paper. That is an asset. But I think that as a community, as women, we need to be assertive. We need to take responsibility. There is a particular concept that I don't like, the wife of an odogu. You want to be wife of an odogu, and then you want to be independent. No. If you want to be wife of an odogu, and then you follow the norms of the odogu. Of course. But if you want to be the odogu wife, there's a difference between wife of an odogu and odogu wife.
Okay.
Then you call the shots, you make contribution, you become an asset, and you have a say. Let me tell you, our men are progressive.
Of course.
Our men are progressive. Gone are those days where a man will want to shoulder every responsibility. If you have a wife that you have 3 kids, you are paying fees for 1 child, your wife is paying fees for 2 children, everything is normal husband will not cherish such an asset. Any man that sees you as a threat, that man is not meant for you. And I'm sure that is the kind of relationship my sister over there is saying, you exit. And I support her. Exit, because no progressive man in this economy that we are talking about will see an entrepreneurial woman as a threat.
Of course.
No, you should be that kind of husband that you sit and you invite your friends to come and watch your wife presenting in the UN General Assembly. You understand?
Yes.
These are the kind of men we want. And I tell you, gone are those days where we say our men, we have progressive husbands. And we are taking them on board because we cannot achieve equality, we cannot promote girls and women's rights without having our men on board.
Definitely. Thank you very much for that contribution, Prof. And of course, we are at what we are saying is all men should see women as assets. No woman is a liability. Of course, no man will get married or wants to get married to a woman who does not work in this our generation. We're talking of 2025 upward, or even from 2020. Every man wants a woman that is going to contribute something, and every woman also wants to contribute, because you know the relief you have, that sign of relief you have when you can also have your own money. You also have a say in family decisions, in the society, even in the community. Always say, okay, this woman can be very, very insightful. Let's get to her. She's going to have something to say. So we're saying to all women out there to wake up from slumber. This is 2025, and you should get on board and see whatever you can do that is very, very important, or very, very contributing to the society, to your families, and wherever you find yourself. And before we continue with our discussions on panel today, we have the Southwest Development Authority, Soweto Women, celebrating 2025. They're celebrating the resilience and triumph of women in Soweto. So maybe let's get we could watch the video of the clip, and we could talk a little on it, and the resilience of women, how women can actually triumph in the society. So we want our broadcasters to maybe give us that clip and we'll watch it.
is the backbone of the society. A woman is powerful, fearless, and is ready to stand for the community. International Day means a lot to us because it has opened the eyes of the woman. It has impacted us to think differently. This day that has been celebrated worldwide, we go out there to celebrate ourselves, celebrate our achievements, our successes, and why not champion the women's empowerment.
To me, the International Women's Day is a day to celebrate women. It's a day to empower women. It's a day we use to spread the word about women.
Soweida supports women in their roles they play in their various families by providing them the appropriate time they need to attend to family issues.
In Soweida, women are valued, all thanks to the Director General, Dr. Bisa Mutui-Ogo, who puts everybody on equal basis.
Just like in the case of Soweida, I would like that there shouldn't be gender discrimination, and there shouldn't be any barrier towards career development, and women should have equal opportunities in life in every sector.
As a woman, we are working hard so that at any one point we should increase the empowerment of a woman.
To fight against injustice, to fight against gender inequality, and to ensure that women all over the world and girls reach their full potential regardless of their culture, their background, and their socioeconomic situation.
The management of Soweida encourages education, that you can go at whatever level you want to go as a woman. And secondly, the Soweida management send women for training so that they should be able to perform well in executing their jobs.
I also want to thank Soweida most especially for the fact that I came in Soweida as an accounts clerk. Later on I moved as a payroll officer. Then Soweida trained me to be a stores accountant, which is the position I hold presently.
When it comes to gender equality, first and foremost, Soweida has a department for gender, which means they take into account everything related to gender equality.
Some of the women came here as secretary with O levels or A levels, but some of them are having masters.
When Soweida is implementing activities, they come in the situation where they try to bring women, most especially vulnerable women, to bring them to the limelight. Soweida gives priority to the girl child. Soweida gives priority to the women.
I came here with an O levels, but today I'm having a master's in business administration. So I think that this is a good accomplishment for me. We thank Dr. Ogok, who is the general manager of Soweida, because he's doing everything to see that a woman is impacted in a level that that woman can take care of herself even while you are not working in Soweida. I just want to wish
a happy celebration
to the women of Soweida,
the Cameroon woman,
and happy Women's Day to the women all over the world.
I want to wish every woman out there a happy Women's Day. Continue to strive to the top.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
I want to wish a happy Women's Day to all the women.
Happy Women's Day to every woman out there. Woman!
Thank you very much, our broadcasters, for that very beautiful one. And at the end, she mentioned woman. Everybody was tempted. Everybody gave an answer. So maybe we could just do the woman thing because they have changed the greeting. It's no longer woman. There's been an upgrade in everything. Everything is going ahead. There have been several innovations with women. So even the greeting is no longer woman. It's woman. Wa place day. Woman wa place day. So please, let's not hear you answering out there. It means you are not in the 2025 gang. The gang of 2025 were answering wa place day. Don't take us backward, please. So that was just a sign of relief. And of course, as we see in the video, we see maybe some of the workers at Soweto, they're expressing maybe they from their beginning, their humble beginnings to where they are. And I always admire women that will always stand out and advise younger women. So women are always, I don't know if I should say timid, or they just keep to themselves. But I admire these women that will always see a young lady and they want to push you forward because they know the pain they went through to achieve. You don't just see big women out there like, okay, like you, Prof, you were talking yesterday at the seminar and at the conference, and everyone was like, hey, wow, see Professor, wow. And I was looking at those women and I said, do you know the struggle she has had to attain that level? I think that should be a motivation to every woman out there to just get motivated by maybe someone. You can look up to somebody and then you might want to walk up to that person and ask questions. They say a closed mouth is a sealed destiny. A sealed mouth is a closed destiny. So let's try to meet persons that are out there. You find out what you have to do to be like them. You must not be them, but to be like them, to also stand out in the society. And we are running out of time, but there are some things we really have to talk about. We're looking at equality and empowerment. Maybe like we talk of reforms, some of those reforms we can do, but we have a lot of women organizations in the country. What can they do, or what are the movements, what are the roles they can play in advocating these efforts, these reforms? How do they advocate these reforms? How do they bring it to the local woman out there to take? Because we had those conferences here. Does it end at the conference in that room level? What are some of these women associations or these organizations doing to actually make sure that these local women, these women out there, these grassroots women attain some of these reforms? They are aware of them and they implement it in their daily lives.
Thank you. I think I have always advocated for a bottom-top approach. Okay. To empowerment, equality, promotion of rights, and all of that. I think that the NGO, civil society organization have been doing quite a lot. My sister over there just shared some of what they have been doing. What I can say is that we need to create more awareness. For instance, we have a national gender-based violence strategy. How many of us have read the document? We need to understand what is the Cameroon position vis-a-vis violence, and to understand what even constitutes violence, gender-based violence, and the different variations. Now we need to first of all understand this document, and then we take it down. Take it down to the grassroots, because most of these women, some of them are not even aware that we have a document that protects them. Some of them are not even aware that we have FIDA that has excellent feminist lawyers that will even take up your case pro bono. So I think that NGO, civil society has been doing a lot, but we need to intensify, especially at the grassroots. People need to be aware. And we also need to be very, very conscious about the kind of activism we do, because we need to understand that there are some contexts where, people are still really, really so stereotyped that your good intention can just be misinterpreted. So we want to first of all try to understand people from their mindset. I do activism, but when I do research, participatory action research. When I go into a community, I first of all understand the mindset, because you need to first of all deconstruct. We come from different socializations. There are people that just for you to open your mouth and say, if you have a toxic husband, take off. That woman will not want to see you. Never. Regardless of what kind of violence she suffers. So you understand that you need to first of all start with the individual. Until you change her mindset, you cannot. So we have a lot of work to do. I have cases where I just say, well, we have to first of all start by helping you as an individual before we can even take the conversation further. So I think we need grassroots. I just came back from my village a few days back, and I see what the women are doing there. What I am doing with them is that I encourage them, come together, create civil society as a common initiative group. You register your group, you formally, and then you come out with your objective. I am there just to push you.
Okay.
So as you see what they are doing, you now see how you start entering them and start driving some of this. You understand? But when you just go, boom, you will face a lot of resistance. So we need to intensify activism and do the right activity. The fact that somebody is dying does not mean that person is readily available to receive the help you are offering. You can just make matters worse. So, and that's why we always say, when you want to go there, especially to these communities that are very, very rigid, that needs a lot of deconstruction, you need to really, really prepare yourself and know exactly the kind of information, especially gender-based violence. You need to really know how to pass across this information. Like I said, we have a lot of instruments in place. We have a problem with implementation. That does not mean, if for instance I want to take up CEDAW to justify my case, I can do it. That is because I am literate, I know where to go, I know who to seek help from, but many women down there are not aware. So we need to look for ways to bring them on board, so that, you know, as a woman, you know that if I have this problem, I should meet my sister over there, I should go to FIDA, and they're going to give me the counseling. And we should also understand that as feminists and gender activists, we understand the importance of agency. You as the agent has the right to make that independent decision. You don't want, and that is a position of feminists. Let people have the agency to make independent decisions about what they want concerning their life. If I choose marriage and family as a vocation, that is my decision. That is my agency. You cannot come and tell me, oh, you cannot stay in the house as a housewife. If I don't find a problem in that, and you come in now because you have sat in a women empowerment forum, you're talking about business, blah, 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 and you're coming to force me out to go and do entrepreneurship, it's not going to work. Because that is so, women's work is paid and unpaid. But we are saying that whether paid or unpaid, it is valuable and it is making contribution to our development. So we should understand that while we are doing activism down there in the grassroots, we should give women agency to choose what they want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. And to you, Madam Lifanda, maybe for just a minute, you want to, because of time constraint, we might not get to go through everything today, but then maybe you want to advise a woman out there watching us today on maybe their role or what they can do to get equal rights and be empowered out there. Maybe you have just a few words for the woman out there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that Prof has said a lot, and it's all about decisions and choices. Yes, and it is not our responsibility to spoil, but to fix, and depending on what they want. So you need to first of all understand what the woman wants, understand her problems, understand her objective, where she wants to go to. When I watched what the Sweda women, I said it was good, but it wasn't equal, because we had all the wonderful things. They didn't tell us the difficulties and how they strive, how the resilience that they put forth to get to those positions or to those spaces. That also will encourage others, because when we make everything look rosy, and then when people want to get there and it's not that rosy, then it's a little bit difficult. A woman's world is not an easy one, but a woman is the backbone of everything. Is the backbone of the nation, the backbone of the house. Now, what I want to tell my fellow women: be you, be resilient, know what you want and how you want it. Now, let nobody try to give you who they are. But be who you want to be. And let others be open for people to assist you become what you want to become.
Okay.
And to us activists and feminists and gender specialists, we have to just study the people, understand them, understand where they're coming from and where they want to go to. Because sometimes I do some kind of advocacy that I go back and I say, why did I even do that? Because it's like I'm taking things that probably I didn't go through that. Then I see others going through, I'm like, it is not supposed to be so. Forgetting that every household has their own dynamics. I grew up seeing my grandmother or my grandfather being an exceptional man. Because at that time, he sent all his girls, female, to Seka. At that time. And my grandmother was a strong politician at that time. So you could see that my grandfather was a liberal man.
Okay,
but
thank you.
In that spaces, in that era, there were some women that were not even able to sit in the parlor with their husbands. And I would see my grandmother as a young girl telling women, Woman, no, she don't so. Woman must do something. Woman must do small work. Woman must do small thing. That was her own way of carrying out her own kind of advocacy.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
So we should just be resilient. We should be focused, and we should try to learn these instruments, especially the international instruments, because they override all national instruments. Especially if the national instruments or the national laws are repugnant, then the international laws will override.
Okay.
So let us take it down. Let us, I would say, localize these things so that everybody will understand and will help us do our work.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Lifanda. And to you, our entrepreneur in the house, maybe you want to say a word to someone out there watching, an entrepreneurial lady who is also aspiring to be known in the society, to also stand independently financially. Maybe you want to say something to them.
Okay, as an entrepreneurial lady, I want to encourage women to be innovative. Don't just say, I want to do this or that. No, have you seen a problem? Is the solution that you are bringing in, is it going to solve that problem? So be innovative, be creative to solve the problem that you have seen. And then most importantly, you impact the society.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to you, Barrister, do you have any other thing
positive.
to do? Do you have any other thing to say out there to our viewers? Maybe any last words?
Okay, but what I would like to say is we should not underestimate the power of collaboration. Collective effort matters a lot. No, women's rights and empowerment, gender equality is not just centered on women's activists or women's rights organizations also, but men and boys must actively participate. Let them be aware of the rights, the ills and the patriarchal norms that are taking place against women, and we can collectively join to combat it for an equitable society.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister. And it is on these notes that we're going to end the program. And before we take leave of you, I just want to appreciate or thank our incredible panelists for taking our time to come on panel today, to come on set with us today to discuss some of these or some of the roles stakeholders can play in maybe shaping the rights, equality and empowerment among women and girls. I say thank you all very much for coming, and we hope to have you for our subsequent edition. And to all our viewers out there, thank you for staying with us till the end of the program, and we hope our discussions or our insightful contributions on our talking point today is going to inspire you out there. It's going to inspire you to stand out for your rights, to stand out as an independent woman, and to also be very collaborative among your peers. We say thank you for watching Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. Stay tuned to more interesting programs and keep the rendezvous next week, Thursday. For presentation, I've been Magdalene Wondo.